Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Kyle Tucker is going to the Cubs. I'm kind of surprised that the Astros would let this guy walk, but he only has one more year of control, so it does make sense to get something back here. It was for Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wezeneski, and Cam Smith. Wezeneski was pretty solid last year. We'll look into that in a second. And then obviously Paredes. Uh, he's been a power slugger in this league for the past 2 years. Last year, only 19 homers. The year before, 31 homers. Now you're gonna put him in the Crawford boxes there in Houston. There's a chance he hits 40 homers. We'll see. But let's get to Kyle Tucker. What was your first reaction? Seeing him going to the Cubs.
Yeah, it was surprising. Even when the rumors were starting to swirl that this could be a possibility. It's kind of been a growing theme for the Astros. I mean, right? You saw Springer go to the Jays in 2021. Correa went to the Twins. Now they're potentially losing Bregman, and now they lost Tucker. That's their whole core gone in the last four years, and it's crazy to see it kind of unwind this quickly. But if you're a Cubs fan, even if it's just for 1 year, it's a great move for them. You don't give up a ton. Like I was surprised that Asiya Suzuki wasn't involved in a trade like this with the logjam that they have in the outfield. But you get a replacement for Alex Bregman and Paredes, and left field in Houston is kind of going to serve what left field did for him in Tampa Bay, where he hit a bunch of home runs. So it seems like it could be a pretty good fit there with Paredes as well.
Yeah, let's go look at Kyle Tucker the last 4 seasons: 5.7 WAR, 5.4, 5.4, 4.7 last year, and only 7.8 in 78 games. I mean,
Yeah.
he was tearing it up. Obviously, some injury bug there, but he drove in 112 2 seasons ago, 107 the year before that. He doesn't really strike out. 95 times in 150 games, 92 times in 157 games. He
Yeah.
hits for power. He's just consistent. I
Yeah.
mean, he finds ways to get it done. And if we go over to uh, our rankings here, um, they have him as 115th overall, which I feel like is crazy.
Right. Well,
I mean,
that's because
he
he
did.
did play only 78 games, I
I
think.
get it, but this guy
Yeah.
he's a top 50 player at least. But
Yeah.
let's go back to the Astros for a second. You
Yeah.
you alluded to it. Their core is pretty much blown up at this point. They got Jordan left. They
Hmm.
got Altuve left.
Yep.
Um, and as a fan of an AL West team that's not the Astros, I'm looking at this team and going, "Wow, this is the lightest the Astros have looked in almost 10 years." So,
Yeah.
um, right now, as it stands, I feel like the AL West is wide open.
Hmm.
Um, I'm sure the Mariners and the Rangers specifically feel that as well. I am an Angels fan, so it's never really open for us. But I mean, if we're looking at it though, these guys have been the top dog for how many years now?
Yeah, since 2014. Yeah.
And you look to the top three: Altuve, Paredes, Alvarez. Okay, you need a first base.
Hmm.
You need an outfielder to replace Tucker. I'm sure these things will iron themselves out. I really don't think that the Astros are planning on having a down year, especially with the aging Altuve. I mean, you only have so much juice in there left. But
Well,
they're
it just
also
came
talking
out
about
today.
trading
Yeah,
Framber
Arenado.
Valdez. Oh
Well,
yeah, that too. But
that
I'm
just
going.
came out today. Like they could be serious favorites for Arenado, but then you just picked up Paredes who plays third base, so it's like I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird fit.
Well, let's go back to them saying they might trade Framber Valdez, who has been their workhorse for the past 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're looking at this rotation right now. Verlander's obviously gone. Hunter Brown was a stud in the second half, not in the first half. Ronel Blanco was a nice find. Arrighetti still needs to sharpen up a little bit. And Luis Garcia didn't pitch last year because of
Yeah.
TJ. So if you remove Framber Valdez from this rotation right now, I don't see how you can pencil in the Astros as the LS favorite anymore. And you might even have to say right now that it is the Mariners or the Rangers.
I think if you lose Valdez, I mean, obviously it depends what you get back, but I mean, you can make a case that I don't even think they're a wild card team, to be honest. I mean, he is that important, and obviously it's hard to judge where a team could be projected at when we're in the middle of December. But right now, like they got a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do, so it'll be definitely interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I I've never seen the Astros in this position in the past 10 years, so I'm kind of baffled right now that they did this.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, Jeremy Pena had a better year than he did in 2023, but still wasn't, what I think they expected Jeremy Pena to be thus far.
yeah,
Um, and then yeah, that outfield. I mean, even Chas McCormick last year was, I mean, look at his 23.
yeah.
His 23 had 22 homers, and
Hmm.
last year he's down to 5 homers. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna need some guys to bounce back, but let's get back to the Cubs, like we were
Hmm.
talking about. This
Yep.
Cubs lineup is looking pretty good right now, with Bellinger penciled in there.
Yeah,
We don't
like
know if he's gonna get moved, but
I wouldn't trade him. I mean, you go out and get Kyle Tucker. The last guy I would want to trade is Bellinger right now. Like I understand he got a huge logjam in there, but I mean, if it's like even like Bush had a good season at first base, like something's got to happen here. Like something's got to give. And it's gonna have to be a trade. Personally, I would probably trade um Ian Happ, to be honest. I think you could no, like I think
no.
you can get some good pieces for him.
I think you rather trade Seiya Suzuki if you can, and you let Pete Crow play, in a rotation of Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, and Bellinger. You're gonna need depth. They
Yeah,
want to
that's
go where they
true.
want to go. You need depth. I mean, I would even. That's just if I had to choose one of the five. I think you keep them all. I know Pete Crow Armstrong is that you want to see him play.
Yeah,
He's only 23 years old, about to be 23 years old. Like
yeah,
you have a good nucleus right now. I don't see why they would give that up. Obviously, this third base position needs to be addressed. I'm
yeah.
sure it's not going to be addressed in a big way, if I had to guess. But even if they can, I mean, I think the big way to go about it here for the Cubs is maybe go get a guy like Eugenio Suarez.
Hmm.
I don't think like Alec Boehm would be on the table or Arenado. And if you're going to trade Bellinger, I don't know why you would go get Bregman. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
maybe like a Eugenio Suarez from the D-backs makes sense. He's gonna hit for power, um, play decent defense. I don't know too much about Matt Shaw. Maybe he's a stud. Cubs fans, you'd have to tell me different. I don't know much about him.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, maybe I mean those two positions are positions of need, and they're just their depth. I mean, obviously their bench right now isn't very good, but you can get some bench signings easily off in the free agent market. Their
Yeah.
rotation's solid.
Hmm.
Imanaga had a great year last year. Steele, Jameson Tyom, Boyd was just signed, who bounced back. Only 8 starts, but he looked good with Cleveland last year. And
Hmm.
they do have Javier Assad penciled in there. He bounced back between the bullpen and the starting role last year and still had 29 starts. So, um,
Need to address
yeah,
that pen for sure. Need
yeah,
to
for
do
sure.
something
I
with that.
mean, there's some good in here. There's some definitely places they can improve. But all in all, adding Kyle Tucker to this lineup, if they were to just remain it the same, right now, I don't think it would be crazy to say that they might be the favorite in the Central, even with the success of the Brewers last year.
Well, yeah, and the Brewers just lost to Damas too. So that'd be a big loss in the lineup. But if you are a fan of the AL West or yeah AL West, you gotta just be thanking your lucky stars that the Astros just got rid of Kyle Tucker because he's been a consistent player. Consistent 30 homers the last 3 years, and yeah, it's a big swing for the Cubs for sure.
Yep, 100%. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. As always, appreciate you guys for listening and watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.